What's going on, you guys? Welcome on back to the channel. Now, with the increased focus of the Shinju characters in Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, I think now is quite possibly the best time to talk about why I think these characters are quite possibly the best villain group that has ever been introduced into the Naruto franchise. Now, I know that's crazy to say because we have the Akatsuki, and don't get me wrong, the Akatsuki are fire. I love the Akatsuki. You got Itachi, you got all those guys. They're a great villain group. But the problem I have with the Akatsuki is aside from Itachi, a lot of them felt kind of underdeveloped as characters. You never really got it was mostly just like the surface level with a lot of the Akatsuki members. The only ones you really got to see more of was Itachi because he had the whole dynamic with Sasuke. But the thing with the Shinju is they feel so much more compelling as characters. And I love that. Like, Kishimoto is doing something that I have always wanted him to do, and that is make a compelling group of villains that, like, all of them feel compelling, that you're invested in all of them. Now, I didn't feel that way at first. When I first saw that they were getting like an increased focus in the narrative, I was I was thinking similar to the rest of the fandom. I'm like, why are we still focusing on them? Can't we move on, go back to Boruto and Kawaki and their dynamic and set up their inevitable clash for the future? But now that I took a step back and I'm really able to like witness what's going on here, it's actually kind of genius what Kishimoto's doing. He's setting it up perfectly that all of these characters, all these Shinju, have their own separate storylines. Essentially, they're all gonna have their own separate storylines. You're gonna be invested in all of them. So when it gets to the point where they all have to die, you're going to feel it so much more. Like, I didn't care about Moegi's like Shinju clone. I didn't care about them, but now that I'm able to see her falling in love with Konohamaru, her slowly starting to realize her feelings for Konohamaru, and quite possibly like Konohamaru at some point during this arc maybe developing some sort of feelings for her as they get to talk and get to know each other more than just the scope of the mission of Konohamaru feeling like he has to kill her. He develops some sort of feelings for her, and like that makes him waver a bit. And what happens if he wavers? Like, there's so many good like implications in the writing that can happen now in Two Blue Vortex that Naruto was really never privy to before. Like, this is something you don't see too often in a shonen manga. Like, the fact that all of the villains are it's not even just Moegi's Shinju clone. It's not even her. You got Jura. Jura has the potential to be even more compelling than he actually is. Like, at first, I didn't care about Jura either. Like, I thought Jura was just like some mindless guy who just wants to devour Himawari because that will get him closer to learning more about Naruto. But it's more than that. He has a hunger for knowledge. He wants to learn more about the world. At this point, I don't think it's just about like Naruto anymore. I think he wants to learn more about the world that he's inhabiting right now. He wants to learn more about everything. That's why he's going to the bookstore, because he wants to learn more things. He doesn't want to, it's not just Naruto anymore. He's evolving as a character as the story goes on. Like, that's cool, bro. That's so interesting because like I didn't think that we were going to see stuff like this. The fact that it's a monthly manga, I assumed that a lot of this development was going to be left to the anime when it comes back in the future. But no, Kishimoto is taking the time to essentially give all of these Shinju arcs. Like, you got all the stuff going on with Jura. You got the stuff going on with Moegi's. Rui is going to hurt even more because you can tell just from the last chapter that he's probably going to become friends with Sarada and Mitsuki. And what happens when he sees Yodo and the other kid? I forget his name, but the Sand Village ninjas. What happens when he sees them? Is Are they gonna feel like conflicted as well because he looks a lot like Shinji? There's so many things that can happen now. Like, he's Kishimoto has set it up perfectly that Boruto doesn't always need to be in the story for compelling things to be happening with the writing. Like, that's what's so good about the Shinju as villains. Like, yes, I want them to be taken out of the story at some point, but while they're here, I'm loving the development that they're getting. I'm loving like what they're doing for the writing. Like, they're like with these Shinju, the writing has been elevated. I think Kishimoto has like been inspired as a writer with these characters because he's able to do something that he's never really been able to do before, and that's kind of give a voice to the villains. Like, give them an arc, give them a storyline. Like the Akatsuki, he never really could do that because it was a weekly manga. So now that he's in a monthly format, he has the time. He has the time to do those things. He has the time to give them an arc, like make us care about them, and like it doesn't have to be just action every chapter now. Like now we can have chapters that are strictly about developing the characters. And like while at first I didn't like last chapter, I've said it before. I was a big like I was a big critic of the last chapter, but I went back and read it. And when you go back and read it, like it hits a lot more because you're able to see what Kishimoto's vision is for this arc. He wants us to care about these characters. He wants us to care about their goals. He wants us to care what happens to them as characters. So when they eventually do get killed, it hits that much harder. Like I'm actually like shook, bro, because I didn't think I was gonna care about the Shinju like this. So basically, what I'm getting at is don't just jump ship on the Shinju just yet. Don't like be like, oh, like these characters suck. Let's get away from them. Let's move on from them in the story. Because I felt like that at first too, but now that I've had a chance to really delve into these characters and see what's being laid out, I trust the process. I trust what's going to happen next in the story. And honestly, I'm excited for more. I'm ready to see what happens next with the Shinju. And don't get me wrong though, I am excited to see how Boruto is re-implemented back into the story. But for right now, I'm enjoying what we're getting. And I think it's only up from here, man. But let me know what you guys think. How do you guys feel about the Shinju as characters? Do you feel that, similar to me, they're very well written and they're quite possibly the best antagonistic group like Kishimoto's ever done? Or do you think they're not all that and you kind of just want them taken out of the stories sooner rather than later? Let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, subscribe, and as always, I'm going to talk to you guys next time. Bye.